お、
暑いからかき氷食べてた。見て。
キスしたい。
青いね、
So we're 20 weeks into a couple of cuckoos, and last week and probably the week before, I've been very, very harsh on this anime, kind of week over week, and each week that has kind of like progressed and finished has just really shown me that the moment that you begin kind of that's the problem, is not even overthinking, just simply just using your brain for a moment when it comes to the plot, it all falls apart, and it's just it keeps introducing twists and turns that are unneeded, and they're just not well written at all. So going into episode number 20, I was like, okay, I know I was really negative. A lot of you guys pointed it out last week, and most of you guys agreed. So, I was like, okay, this week I'm going to go into this week's episode. I'm going to be positive. I'm going to be open-minded, and I'm not going to think. And I know it sounds pretty bad, like, oh, what do you mean you're not going to think? It's because, like, even this episode, the things that occurred this episode, if you begin to really think about it, it's like it falls apart once again, right? So here's the events that happened this episode. Initially we have the 𝐒𝐮𝐲𝐶 date, okay? So here we are once again on 𝐒𝐮𝐲𝐶, basically, leading the horse by the rabbit kind of thing, and she invites Nagi out to a date. Now, she does it with really good intentions, and that's kind of where I always had issues with 𝐒𝐮𝐲𝐶 as a character, is her intentions mean well, right? She notices that Nagi is there. His mind is kind of everywhere else. He's focused on everything besides studying. You could tell that he has some inner turmoil. She recognizes that, and she wants to kind of like be there for him and do something for him. So she invites him out on a date, and they go on a cycling date, and she tells him to go and shout at the ocean. It makes him feel better, and Nagi sees a good part of her, a good side of her, which I am completely all for. I completely recognize the goodness in there and the good side to it and everything else. But the reality of the way that the writing was done, the way that the plot was done, the reality of her whole character, her whole being, is the fact that she's promised to somebody else. She knows that she's not going to do anything. She's relying on an outside source to do something she doesn't want to do, because she's made it evident. I do not want to marry some random person. I don't want to, maybe like even like inherit this shrine stuff. Like, I don't want to do that. I want to kind of set my own path, but she's not controlling anything. She's relying on a third party or an outside source to come in and white knight her, which I have a lot of issue with. Just like, you don't want to be with somebody who's like requiring a white knight, okay? Like, that's just not a good situation to be in. But the other piece is, like, she's also done nothing to like retract her whole fiance situation. Like, she could do something about it, but she's not doing anything about it. And I think that's kind of like where my initial problems go, which is like her character arc. But like I said, I will acknowledge the fact that she was trying to do something sweet for Nagi, and it did work for the most part. Now, while they were out cycling, he did get a more realization of who his real biological father is, which is this, hotel mogul. And I think he's finally understanding the scope of this man's power, which is later emphasized when the mogul king, when Amino's dad, when he's meeting with Sachi and he's talking about, oh yeah, the restaurant we're sitting in, I've brought the Prime Minister of Japan here before. So it even further emphasizes kind of like that whole narrative of like, this man has some serious power and he is controlling in everything. So then we take it back. Okay, so we have, the dad meeting with Sachi, again, re-emphasizing that, Nagi can marry Sachi, that is a viable option. I've been really racking my brain. I was like, why is that a viable option? I think in some way, shape, or form, this man just wants the Nagi, he just wants basically the Amino family and the, is it the Nagi family? Or whatever. He wants Nagi's family, the Uminos. He wants the Uminos and the Aminos to kind of be a family. And I guess you can accomplish it either way, which is if he marries Erika, if he marries Sachi, he will accomplish, kind of putting the family together, and they will be in-laws, so I guess they would have ties to Erika regardless in that situation. The interesting thing is this Sasuke. Naruto, where are you at? We need to fight Sasuke. This Sasuke character who may or may not exist. So this whole brother stuff, I think, is stupid. But again, I'm open mind, open brain. We're not gonna dive deep into the stupidness that this story is. But this Sasuke guy, it's kind of one of three situations with this dude. Brother's dead, brothers overseas, brothers in college somewhere, brother ran away from home. It's kind of like one of those situations, right? He's either over abroad studying, he's either dead or he ran away from home in some way, shape, or form. Because the way that it's kind of depicted to us is he's only like a 1 year difference between Amino and between Nagi. So he's only like a year older. So at best he could be 17, maybe 18 at the very, very most. So if this dude actually is a real person and he does exist, the reason that the dad is saying, well, you don't have another brother is because he's disowned his ass. So that leads me to believe like maybe this dude ran away or something like that. Like he probably disowned him. Or he doesn't have a brother anymore because this dude is dead. So it's one of those different situations. But if he is dead, that leads me to Erica's whole situation of like, oh, if I keep posting Insta pictures, my brother will find it. Well, I guess the very last option is that Erica's just crazy and he was just an imaginary friend. But then why would there be a picture? It's just I just don't know. There's just so many variables, and that's kind of where it falls apart. But again, I'm not going to spend time with that. I'm really trying not to spend time on picking into the different things that are woven here because, like I said, it just keeps falling apart the moment I keep talking about it more. So okay, we're gonna push that off to the side. So brother, where art thou kind of thing. The one thing that I did like though is Nagi did bring up with Erica. It's like, hey, just so you know, like you marrying your brother that you seem to love so much is an option too. And that kind of blew her mind. And that leads me to believe, unlike, okay, why is daddy not posing that as an option if he seemingly has no problem offering up Sachi to Nagi, even though like they're basically like they are literally brother and sister. They live together their whole entire lives. Like they are the epitome of brother and sister, which is why I find it always gross and disturbing when Nagi's like, oh, maybe I can't start looking at her that way. It's just so it drives me crazy. Okay. Again, positive, open mind. Okay. So then we end with the whole Sachi stuff. Sachi calls him out. She's like, hey, would you marry me kind of thing. Again, now he begins to think about it for a second in a serious fashion because obviously she's being serious about it. She goes blah about it, but she feels great. She got wet in her britches. Good for Sachi, But Nagi really needs to make a decision on a couple of factors, which hopefully we see or maybe we don't see. I don't know. He just needs to he needs to fucking just pick up his mind, at this point. He needs to decide who does he like more? And he needs to just pursue that person. Whether it is SAEGAWA or whatever. Like, if it is SAEGAWA, call off the fiance-ness. Call it off. Just put all your eggs in one basket. I don't know. All right. Episode was all right. It was okay. So let me know what you guys thought in the comments. All right, my friends. See you guys next weekend. Peace. Also, I want to hear you in the comments. Let me know what you guys thought. Peace.